First, I got to get the.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our second session of the day. I'm Richard Busolato, and with me I have Tim for short. We are fashionably a couple of minutes late because, what can you say? There were tech issues. They have been resolved. We think. We're about to find out, I guess. So, today our second session will feature a new pairing. And those of you who have been with us so far know us a little bit. But without much further ado here, I think we're going to move on to what is effectively scheduled to be the first program of the day. And I was hoping here that we would be able to welcome David back into the studio briefly. Can we see him coming? I think he's plugging away. So, what do we have in store for today, Tim? Can you take us through our rough program, which might be subject to changes depending if we can get live or not connected?
Yes, sure. Thank you so much, Richard, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all our viewers today on our second day of our 12 days of COP, second session. And today we have a couple of activities lined up. And as we all know, for our second session, we start with a prayer and meditation session that will be led by Core. And then after that, we are going to have a presentation by Eddie Gitonga, who is doing an innovation on intelligent smart bin. And then later we are going to have some conversations with Richard. And after Richard, we are going to have some interesting conversation about women empowerment in the space of environment. And we'll be able to get to understand or listen to the immense work they're doing around looking after our common home. And after that, you're going to have some conversations going through, and then later in one of our activities, which is I Want to Sing, we are going to feature one artist, and he's going to share with us his journey as well. So that is it, Richard, and we're looking forward for great engagement. Over to you, Richard.
Indeed, you will have to put up with the two of us, I'm afraid, for these couple of hours, but we are having some really outstanding clips lined up for you. So here we are, ready to go with the starting session of the day, which will be, as Timothy pointed out, prayers and meditation. So, gonna kick you off with that very clip.
we love or peace itself. If we concentrate, if we want to be, if we make an effort to become.
Hi, can I join you?
Indeed, you can. Feel free.
I was waiting for you to bring me in. I was in the waiting backstage, and please have a look at the private chat I've been messaging to say, can you bring me in? In all along. So
my bad.
I didn't know when I was supposed to enter. And I want to say one thing about these points. I don't know if it's possible to rewind this clip back to the beginning. I think if you can, that would be great.
Yes, I will do.
Yeah.
And then if you just pause it for now, you can just pause it for the moment and just rewind to the beginning.
Yeah. That should be done. We should be at the very start.
Okay. So, these sessions starting at this time, for me, is very important. For me, it's a very important part of the proceedings, because what I'm finding. Okay, let me try and do this So this is not the way this is meant to be playing. Let me do this, try and find myself a place. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to place myself here. So prayers and meditation every day at 2 o'clock in this way. COP is an event that has global significance along, and it's an event that has a kind of global meaning in that way. And for many people, what I've come to really realize, as with many people, as I've gone myself through the journey of trying to think what is the right thing to do, what are the aspects to do, there is a spiritual side, and this is beyond any kind of comment about whether it's this religion or that religion. I know that whenever people mention the word spiritual, that's what they cling on to. But there is this aspect about our connection with creation, our connection with the planet. And if the climate situation and the devastations are to do anything to help us along, it is to rediscover what that connection is. And when Richard and I, with our book and our reflections that came to our book, The Unsustainable Truth, that we put together, what we came to is to appreciate that we have very much lost that connection through the powers of our economics, through the real powers of what we can do ourselves. And how do you come about rediscovering this? This is really quite important if we are to make the right progress. So in many ways, it is to say that the steps forward are individual. They have to start from that internal steps forward. And that's the important part about a conversation I had with my good friend Ku. We've known each other for many years, and we were talking about this in the context of COP28, and she was sharing with me some kind of very, very personal, very intimate thoughts about her own realization of how that reconnection comes about. And I want to share those with you because for me, they are probably the most important realization, the most important reflection, and the most important understanding for me throughout the entire journey that I've had out of all the conversations that I've had, whether they be with regulators, with businesses, with investors, with individuals, with grassroots people, with indeed other religious people and those. I find her words the ones that are the most significant for me in understanding what it means. So I hope you will appreciate them as I do, and I hope you will, listen to them and reflect upon them, and hope that they will help you in the way that it has helped me in understanding how to turn the climate challenges into going beyond simply an acceptance that we need to change, but into a celebration of love. Thank you. I'm going to switch over and I will bring that on there. And start this from the beginning. It's okay. I think the person who loaded this needs to be the one in control of it, because I'm not hearing the audio through.
Or child of God, meaning that we are good and we love light. Or I think fundamentally, if all of us understand that we are part of God or child of God, meaning we are good and we love or light or peace itself. If we concentrate, if we make effort to become God, the consequences are all good, meaning that we help each other, we will be connected to each other. We do not wish anything bad happen to us, to animal, to anything on the planet. If we call it is a truth. Think of this or try to find, what is the truth in our life. And those people who are getting there understand, while all the others who are still understanding a material side of the world, it would be very difficult. Because as you say, we in the past, we learned to solve, there's a problem, we solve this problem. But it's all connected. It's just one facade, the same issue has a different story or faces. So
Yeah.
if we understand that, so we all unselfishly love where we live, this planet, and all the human nature, and then we have different worlds, and obviously it's far from it, and it's very hard for it to get there. But that fundamentally, that's what it is. And if I think some people start understanding that, and I think that's why people wants to do something, environmental or whatever they do understand to make it better. Therefore, I think, Cynthia's approach is good because she thinks that all of us who do understand, timeless space and connection with the universe, or God, whatever you call it, and then we work hard for it, for the not just the individual, but whole people as a whole. I think we all raise our vibration. That will help everybody to be a lot more consciously. And, we can do a lot of things. It falls in the right place, I believe. And I think this is happening now. I am not the expert, but I've been watching a different people talking about this evolution, conscious evolution, or genetic evolution, or astrological evolution of our humankind progress. It seems, we are a period of this era, time is over, and we're going down. And I think that's why we have all these conflicts, and we had so many calamities, and we are heading a better place, that's for sure. And therefore, even more, we have to help everyone to feel, it is important now. We shift our mindset or consciousness to understand better why we are here or what we are. I really realize London, not England, I don't know England very well, but at least London, we are so blessed that we had so many mass during the day, every day. And here, even Sunday, 3 minutes away from here, very historical church, and I sit there in the beginning when we moved here because there was nowhere to go. I haven't been to mass for nearly 2 years.
Okay, so that is it, ladies and gentlemen. A small technical hitch there, but we will be coming back again, and but maybe we can have a conversation as the tech team is taking us back there, Richard, on on the few words that
Meaning that we are good and
We seem to have restarted.
we love or light or peace itself. If we concentrate, if we want to be, if we concentrate, if we want to be, if we make effort to become like God, the consequences are all good, meaning that we help each other, we will be connected to each other. We do not wish anything bad happen to us, to animal, to insect, anything on the planet. If we call it, it is, if you do glimpse of this truth or try to find, what is the truth in our life, I think those people who are getting there understand while all the others who are still understanding a material side of the world, it would be very difficult because, as you say, we in the past we learned to solve. There's a problem, we solve this problem, but it's all connected. It's just one facade. The same issue has a different story or faces. So
Yeah.
if we understand that, so we all selfishly love where we live, this planet, and all the human nature. And then we have different worlds, and obviously it's far from it, and it's very hard for it to get there. But I think fundamentally,
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so so much for that. We just developed a technical hitch, but I think maybe we can, for the few words that we've listened to her, which among the things that she was sharing was, the importance of taking care of each other even during this, in times of calamity, and also, acknowledging that we belong to God. And I believe that is key for us to understand during at such a time where, people might panic because of the adversities that are happening, brought about by effects of climate change. So for me, I feel, that is really important, and it was nice of her to bring that up. What do you think, Richard?
Yes, very profound words. Unfortunately, we had some buffering issues, but sometimes those things happen. And we will indeed show that clip in full and give it the time and the consideration it deserves at a later stage. So we are here, we are pondering, our metaphysical existence and all the things that are happening around us. And at the same time, we're perhaps glancing a little bit what's happening in Dubai. We might like some of the things, and we might not like some of the things that are being shown. And I think it's important that we trying to focus on the things that matter, and what Ku described was very much that. It was really a fantastic piece about what matters in life. And we're going to move on swiftly, and we hope there will not be more tech issues, but you can never guarantee it. And if there is, then we will do something else instead. That I can promise you, Tim. So we're thinking at the moment, we're going to show you a clip featuring the illustrious Eddie Gitonga, who has great ideas for what you should do in terms of waste management. He's an interesting character. Tim interviewed him, and I think you should tell us a little bit more before we show the clip with him that hopefully will run today, I might add. And if not, then we will show something else.
Yeah, precise. Yeah, exactly, Richard. And it was interesting engaging with Eddie Gitonga, and and getting to hear about this interesting and fabulous innovation that he has, that leverages on AI and IoT technologies. And it has an interesting way of helping people segregate their waste, and which again will make them, after the waste has been segregated, it makes it easy to foster circular economy, such that the waste waste that has been collected can be used as raw materials for the manufacturing of another product. And that is essentially, that's what I believe we are all pushing forward to, whereby instead of having these waste products ending up in landfills, we are pushing that, how can we see that we are able to bring them back to the economy, and trying to foster circular economy and not a linear economy. So sit back and warm your coffee as you have a taste of Eddie Gitonga's innovation. Thank you. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone from where you're joining us from. Been project, which is an innovation that is geared towards controlling waste, ensuring that we have sustainable cities across the world. So welcome so much, Eddie. Looking forward for a great conversation. And to start us off, kindly introduce yourself, Eddie.
Thank you so much.
Unfortunately, we had the tech issue again with the clip, and it's very frustrating when you have it lined up and you want to show something really, really good. But we will work hard to try to resolve that. And I promise you, we will show you Eddie Gitonga and his wonderful ideas for waste management later. We are going perhaps to have another go. We'll see what they decide to do or not. No, I think we swiftly move on here, and we will save the Eddie Gitonga clip for another day, as we famously said. And instead, we're going to show you a completely different clip about another very, very interesting character who has some fantastic ideas with regard to farming and what he thinks the big problems we are seeing around the world are. And this is a very long clip. He's a young entrepreneur. He's an engineer by education. His father was actually, or is actually, a farmer in Hungary, as he will tell you. And it was a very, very long clip. So I've chopped it up into pieces where we will show you the first bit. And I'd simply think it's a wonderful story that is telling, but it's also a very cursory tale of what can happen if we don't actually look after our common home. So I will give you Christoph Hayes and the first part of when we discuss farming and farming practices and what it actually will mean about growing food going forward. Here he comes. Hello, everybody. My name is Richard Bersolato, as you know, and today I have with me one of the most interesting guests we're going to have on the 12 days of COP. His name is Christoph Hayes. He's an engineer by trade, and he is the founder of List.io, where he's focusing on regenerative farming. Christoph, pleasure to have you with us today.
Thanks, Richard. Always good to catch up. Love the big picture thinking.
Well, me and David, we've had the pleasure of knowing Christoph for some time, and we think he's a tremendous forward thinker that approaches things in a very lateral and creative fashion, and I just love speaking to him. But most of you will not know him as well as I do. So, Christoph, please tell us a little bit about your story and how List.io came about.
Great, I will. Thanks, Richard. So I guess it's probably best to rewind to my kind of early childhood and sort of my journey into self-discovery in a professional sense. So my father's an organic farmer, very small scale in Hungary. And I used to spend my summers helping him out for a bit of pocket money. And I thought it was backbreaking work. And so I kind of ran away from that and ran all the way to England to study engineering. And really that is my calling. My brain works in this analytical way. I always sought it. Right from my earlier years at school, I switched schools, in fact, to find the right, topics that excite me. And engineering, I continued with. I did electronics, which kind of put me, opened up the kind of software world to me as well, and that was really exciting. The ability to write basically abstract lines of code that then execute, and that execution might happen on a small PC, and it might move little images around and, I don't know, build a game. But equally, I was learning about industrial control systems, huge plants that are able to, move around with essentially lines of code, and that kind of blew my mind, and it started my career in industrial automation. I started with big companies, which was the advice I was given at engineering school. And, there's a lot of learning that happened there, some of which I'm only just applying, and I'm sure we'll get back to that. I now work in startups. At the time, I felt that I was just a tiny cog in a big machine, and, probably full of ego and bravado. I thought, I want to prove myself. And so after a few years, after a couple of jobs in that kind of corporate world, I moved towards startups. This coincided with a time in my life where I was also kind of seeking to learn again, kind of keep my skill set sharp, my technical skill set. I was drifting a little bit away from the doing in the corporate world and into more commercial roles, which were great, more learning.
Yeah.
But I was not ready to kind of give up just yet. And I was really excited about this idea of connected devices. So small, lightweight sensors, really cheap electronics, and kind of the ability to monitor processes that are maybe distributed in time and space, and we just collect that information remotely. That was really, really cool, and I wanted the technical skill set to be able to play with that. So that's all very technical. What about the farming?
Yeah.
So this was 2020, and as you all know, the world kind of came to a bit of a halt for a bit, and my career had come to a halt. Consciously I'd made this decision, but I was suddenly, sat in my bedroom, kind of learning how to code in completely new frameworks, kind of learning, and at the same time kind of reading a lot, basically, because there's not, suddenly I wasn't traveling with work, and I had all this time to kind of dig down into my interest. How do I want to apply this new skill set? And at the same time, I was talking to my family, back in Hungary, and I was talking to my father about his work in farming. And I think there was this coming together of two worlds where I could start to see the impact that farming can have on the ecology, our well-being, global health, all kinds of basically global systems that are kind of really exciting to someone who wants to think at scale. And so I kind of knew at that point that what I wanted to do was technology solutions, my own brand of technology solutions, but for agriculture. And that's been refined further into appropriate technology solutions for regenerative agriculture. And maybe we can unpick the differences there, but essentially through a number of startups then since 2020, last year I was fortunate enough to start List, and we have a more specific focus even than just appropriate technology solutions. But I think that's the umbrella, and that's the real motive, the driver behind what I do. And slowly the team is growing, so more of us are doing, and that's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I've been following you a little bit at a distance, and you do come across as someone with very firm beliefs, but at the same time, you're constantly searching and exploring, and you're trying to refine these processes. And yeah, I guess for a better word, you're learning, as you move along. I find the whole area of farming fascinating because I have no understanding basically of it. I'm a kid who grew up in the city at the penultimate stop of the tube line, and I saw cows for the first time when I was probably like 16 or something like that. So very different. But what I do know from 30 odd years as an investor is that farming historically has been seen as dull. It's always been forced to move to scale to find returns that the investors are seeking. And at the moment, or what I think is becoming clear to a lot of people, because I don't certainly think I'm that much of a unique figure, is that there are serious issues with the approach we have taken to, for a better word, industrialized farming over the last 2-3 decades. And we're now starting to see the really adverse effects of monocropping and heavy fertilizing. And we don't know, I guess, yet what GM will lead to. And your approach seems very, very different. It's almost like your regenerative farming. Probably you should explain it a little bit better to those who are tuning in and don't know exactly what it is. I guess most people have heard about it, but don't know what it stands for. And your whole approach to the area is, as far as I can see, it's diametrically the opposite of how investors have been thinking about farming for a good part of 20, 30, 40 years. Yes,
I mean, that's really interesting kind of observation, Richard. And I would say that your ability to interpret, like you said at the beginning, charts and numbers that tell you a story about how the scale of the issues that are coming down the track towards us very quickly is makes you quite unique in that way, and the ability to talk about it. So, you know, that's great, and I think we need a bit more of that. And I think in your book also, that's what struck me that you wrote with David about there's a scene there, or a sort of moment when you say, you know, you're waiting for a plane and it's delayed, and the reason it's delayed is because of climate change, and it's no longer a kind of, you know, it's a human-made but environmental factor, and it's large. It's a large systematic problem that needs solving, and you know, the first step of solving this type of problem is recognizing it and quantifying it and talking about it, and kind of understanding the scope of it. I think it's something very similar is happening in food and farming, and a few people are talking about it, and increasingly people are talking about it. I'm particularly interested in the farmer perspectives in this, because they're the ones on the ground. They're the workers of this industry, and they are very few. I'm mostly going to talk about the kind of Western European or Northern Hemisphere industrialized agricultural context that I know a little bit. And I don't call myself a farmer because I've never done it, but I am aware, because from my family background, about some of the underlying core values and principles around farming and growing food in nature and nature itself. Those have been with me since, you know, the dinner table conversations that I listened to as a kid, and that's what, in a way, you detect the surety in my approach. That is where it comes from. But I don't know the nuts and bolts of farming, and I don't know the industry. And this is where, you know, I'm working with others and building partnerships with the list, and some of them are becoming really quite strong, with the type of farming businesses, with the type of farmers and individuals who believe that the current system or model isn't working for everyone, and contributes maybe to some of these issues instead of solving them. And the I don't know about hope, but the good news is that there is an alternative. We can grow food in a different way, and this is what I'm exploring. And I think regenerative agriculture as the term is used a lot, right? It's very broad, and in a way it's broad on purpose. So some people may know about organic farming, right? So organic food in general, and that means that tends to be certified, and it tends to be kind of chemical free. And I'm trying, I'll use this as an example to explain why the regenerative terminology is different and helpful that it's broad. So with organic, the terminology is very fixed. It's fixed along these lines that are captured in certifications, and therefore it creates a sort of black and white. You're either organic or you're not type distinction. Whereas with regenerative farming, it's about a journey. It's about placing the focus on kind of ecosystem health, but more specifically soil health. So what happens in the medium that is the basis of all food? What happens there, and kind of protecting it, you know, placing it as almost as a priority. And the side effects of that are manifold, and including better food production outcomes, but also better environmental and ecological outcomes, which we can talk about some more. But back to the terminology, what it allows for is a broad movement that people can get behind. So it doesn't shut people out. Just because you're exploring regenerative ideas, it doesn't mean that you're not somewhere along that journey. And you might be along that journey with someone who's 10 or 20 years down the same journey on their own farm, and they're incredibly, you know, progressive, and they were ahead of the curve. But in terms of solving this crisis, this food and farming and agricultural crisis together, we need more people. So I kind of celebrate the term, but I always have to explain, and I think I think it's important to explain that why we want it to be a little bit broad. And yes, there's downsides to making it broad, and it means people can jump on a bandwagon and use it for sort of marketing purposes. I think that's a necessary evil, or you kind of have to accept that as part of the trade-off. But that's how I currently think about it, Richard. It's entirely possible that my thinking will change over time.
Yeah, your facts change, you change. I think that's a pretty open-minded, correct position to take. But it's an area that is garnering a lot more attention, is my sense, not necessarily among the farming community or among investment profession, but it's actually reaching the broader public. And it feels like we have a new generation of consumers who conscientiously are making choices that perhaps my generation, being a fair bit older than you, never made. Maybe because it wasn't known very well about these practices. And I think, obviously, farming, when we're talking growing various types of grains or fruit, is kind of different from animal farming. Animal farming has got a lot more very negative press over the last 5-6 years, and judging by some of the footage that has come out, I think you have turned a reasonable amount of numbers into vegetarians for good reasons. But there are clearly very, very abusive practices going on in more traditional grain, fruit, vegetable farming as well, that depletes the soil, destroys future ability of us to continue to grow food, etc., and also with water extraction to keep some of these farms going is absolutely huge. It's a vast area, and we don't have infinite time to tackle. But from your side, what do you see as the biggest challenges, for regenerative farming to really take hold, but also for farming at large? What are the real challenges facing the industry as we become perhaps a lot more conscious as consumers about what we eat?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I guess I want to reiterate the fact that I'm only talking from my position in the world, which is a very privileged one, Western Europe, Northern Hemisphere. But what I understand to be the case here is the history of farming maybe is worth looking at very, very quickly, very broadly. Some of these practices that we're describing are not new at all. In fact, previous generations were farming close to nature for thousands of years, and certainly hundreds of years.
Yeah.
A major shift that happened was about 100 years ago with the introduction of mechanization and chemical inputs. And these were really, incredible tools in terms of providing rapid increases in outcomes. By that I mean kind of yield and reduction in labor required. But that is a trend that has continued since. So what that means now is that we have models, food systems, where we measure output in terms of yield. So how much what tonnage of wheat do we get off a particular area? And that's the predominant metric. That translates to, ultimately it translates to economic, it translates to dollars eventually, but that's the main metric. And the other driver in this model is that we have a very small workforce in farming. So, I think it's something like 4% of the UK population work in agriculture. So that, and that probably includes farm owners as well. And, so the farm laborers are reliant on, heavy, large scale mechanization and automation where possible. And I'm not saying, so I don't think that's in itself a problem, but I think we need to recognize that for a part of our economy that is so critical. I mean, all of us eat 3 times a day, and are essentially it's a very basic human need, food. And so we have to understand the gearing of how many of us work in this industry, and also what percentage of our GDP it makes up. Essentially, how much do we spend on food? And there's an argument to say food should be as cheap as possible, and that's fair. I don't want to open this up to the global context, but in wealthy countries, what we can start to recognize is that food, when we pay for food, we also pay for underlying services that are provided by that small agricultural workforce, who are also safeguarding our landscapes, looking after nature, ideally, and providing a variety of different kind of services to our economy. If we don't fairly compensate them for those, and we only focus on the tonnage of wheat per area, then they will, and they're squeezed in a kind of economic system, then that will be number one priority, and the rest will kind of start to fall behind. And I think this is some of the, these are fairly kind of big levers that I'm describing, but I think these are some of the trends that have led to a rapid reduction of kind of topsoil, a rapid reduction of biodiversity, and a huge increase in the number of chemical inputs that we use, the number of the cost of some of these inputs. So a farming business is really tied in to an economic model where they have no choice but to have a high output, because their input costs are also large. And so regenerative agriculture, which is kind of focused on building resilience in ecosystems, but also resilience economically, helps farming businesses look at this model and try and work on reducing their dependence essentially on expensive inputs, so that they have a little bit more breathing space and can start to reimagine their outputs. And this is really interesting and a kind of economic story, as well as an ecological one, right? So I've been quite interested in this, and I kind of read about it, and I try and have conversations about it with the farmers. And I think the farming community are really, really sensitive to the economic story. And so that's a real way in, I would say. And there's some really good examples of companies who are starting to do good work and making these options viable for farming businesses. And as a result, they're starting to have ecological impact as well, which is huge in my mind. That's the shift that we have the potential to have.
Well, that was the very first part of a long discussion I had about Christoph, which encompasses, as you heard, farming, how we grow our food, and the potential damages we are doing to our planet while doing so, because actually the farmer has really no other choice but to damage the planet if he's going to deliver the economic output that is required by the model. In the following clips, which will be shown later during these 12 days of COP, we move the discussion on further, where we talk about what can be done, the big benefits here seen with a different approach that is always based on the economics, and this is worth remembering. And we are going to finish off those episodes when he talks about what he sees as the biggest threats. And I advise you all to stay particularly tuned for that session, because the picture he's painting for the future is scary in many, many ways. But enough about that. So, Tim, you watched it with me.
Yes.
What conclusions do you think people in Kenya will draw from his approach to farming, which he readily admits himself is very different, because he's basically looking at industrial farming in the Northern Hemisphere and UK in particular?
Yeah, thank you. And I must say that I honestly admire the, you know, the knowledge oozed from the presentation about, the whole thing about regenerative agriculture. And from my end, I see two opportunities in this. One is ensuring there is food security, and the other one is uh, looking after a common home, which is looking after Mother Nature Earth. And when you talk about maybe things to do with uh, looking after a common home, we know right now the biggest threat is carbon emissions. And with regenerative agriculture, it proposes practices such as cover cropping and reduced tillage, and these have go a long way to sequester carbon in the soil. And this is just one of the amazing ways in which we can be able to mitigate effects of climate change, because we'll be able to offset the carbon. So looking at it from my from a point where um, I'm looking to see how how I can look after my common home. Then regenerative agriculture introduces a great idea. Also, one another way is enhancing soil fertility. You know, regenerative agriculture proposes having diverse crop production, as opposed to other organic way other ways that maybe would propose monocropping, as some which we witness here in Kenya. You find there are some regions that are known for a certain product or a certain crop. Like for example, when you go to western part of Kenya, people attribute to western part of Kenya with sugarcane and maize, and which has a long which has a huge impact in soil fertility. It goes a long way to reduce the soil fertility. But with regenerative agriculture, which proposes have things to do with crop rotation, it goes a long way to improve soil fertility. So looking at it from that point, I'm seeing in terms of looking after a common home, it goes a long way to ensure that our environment is clean. Also, remember that regenerative agriculture tries to, from the presentation that he has made, it tries to ensure that there is less input of synthetic fertilizers, which we all know has effect to the soil pH. So it also goes a long way to ensure that the soil fertility is top notch, which goes a long way also to ensure that we look after a common home. And then when it looks to on issues to do with food security, we all know that regenerative agriculture talks about having crop production such that in 1 month you're doing another crop, and in another month you're doing a different type of crop. And you see with this, at any given time we have food growing, we have food in that cycle. So this ensures that we not at any given time we'll be able to witness drought or something of the sort, or lack of food. So looking at it from that point, I see it's a great deal. And even as we approach to as we have a conversation, because food security, it's a big conversation when you talk about climate change. So I'm seeing regenerative agriculture as a great remedy towards solving the food insecurity issue. Richard, that's my thought, and maybe we can carry on this conversation over maybe after I hear your thought, and then I can build it up from there.
I'm scared now. You should have done the interview. Cover crop. You got me at cover crop. We will be discussing cover crops with Christoph later and what all the benefits it has. But I'm just amazed. How do you know so much about farming? Because like I stated, I know nothing, right? You chuck stuff in the soil, it grows, you harvest it, I eat. That's kind of my basic view of it. So there is a huge knowledge, as you can see here in the studio, and it does not come from me about farming practices. But what I find really, really, really interesting, the way he describes it, is that it actually makes economically sense to start to look after our home in a different sense than what farmers historically have been forced to do, because the short-term economics have driven them into the practices you described with sugarcane and maize and all the things that you are forced to adopt to stay competitive in the short term, but actually undermines your competitiveness long term. He is trying to address with his thinking. And like I promised, we would be showing another clip with him. We don't know yet when, but I think there's actually 2 more clips with him. Yes. So stay tuned for seeing the continued story about Christoph Hayes and his regenerative farming. And I promise you there's a robot there, which is among the coolest things I have ever seen, actually, that will feature as well. However, now we talked a little bit about food, the importance and the damages. And Tim, like me, he's obviously a little bit apprehensive and scared, but he's also he's seeing, like me, there is another path, and it's very interesting hearing that the similar story is prevailing in Kenya as it is in the UK, because here it's a big debate, and it's one we're going to follow with interest. Moving on swiftly, we're going to show you another couple of clips here before we have actually scheduled a fireside chat in an hour. So you will be stuck with just the 2 of us for another 60 minutes. Then you will get rid of our faces, I promise you. Now we're going to go to Kenya in a different way. And we're going to be looking at, in some ways, very different story, but there are connections between the 2 that I find really, really interesting. So, Timothy, what have you got to tee up for us next here, really?
Oh, thank you, Richard. We have an interesting story about how young women are taking stage in trying to offer solution in our communities. And we have an amazing story by Latoya, who is a young girl, a university student, and he's championing a great project whereby it's called the Northern Project, which aims at engaging communities in projects that are aimed to improve their livelihood. And it's so bold of her, because she comes from a patriarchal society where women are not supposed to take such initiatives. Women are supposed to take a backseat. But as young as she is, she's managed to frontier herself and carry on the project amidst the challenges where she's been bullied. She's been, she's had all sorts of names, but that has not kept her not going forward. So it was an interesting conversation. I engaged her on an interview, and I hope that people get to inspired by this, and also the young generation coming up, then get to be inspired by what Riptra is doing. Richard, do you want to take us there?
I will indeed. So I've loaded up the clip. We will show you about Latoya, and then we're going to discuss her story a little bit further. So stay tuned here.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone from where you're joining us from. My name is Timothy Ndegwa, and with me today, I'm joined by Latoya, founder and executive director of Northern Project. Nice to have you here, Latoya. So you're welcome. On our edition today of looking after a common home, we want to hear from you. Tell us, introduce yourself, and as we also progress. Thank you.
My name is Latoya Elema Kanano. I'm a student at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, as well as the executive director and the founder of Move Northern Kenya organization that's based in Marsabit County. And I'm pursuing a degree in the Bachelor of Arts in International Relations and Diplomacy. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Rita. And it's really nice to see young people, rising up to the occasion in taking initiatives like the one we're doing, which are geared towards looking after our common home, which is Mother Nature Earth, and it's inspiring to many people. So, Rita, just to take us through, will you kindly describe to us the project that you're doing?
Move Northern Kenya deals with SDGs. We have a zero hunger, gender equality, quality education, climate action, and climate action, clean and renewable energy, and clean water and sanitation. And then lastly, we have peace, justice, and strong institutions. When it comes to Move Northern Kenya, we have had a lot of projects like the Tujikimu project, the food drives, and all of these projects we've had some experiences, we've had challenges, and we've also had successes. When we look at all these, we decided to combine them with community-based strategies, because these are the things that affect the communities at large. And what inspired us is the fact that a lot of people have been having the same issues over and over again, especially in Northern Kenya. We have a lot of people doing projects in Northern Kenya, but why are we not seeing the change? So us as youths, we decided that we'll start this project, and we look forward to seeing a developed and transformed Northern Kenya, especially when we talk to the community. We realize that all of these issues are anchored towards climate change. It's because of climate change that people lost their resources. People started fighting with one another, leading to instabilities, and the girls are also being affected by the same. So all these have been issues that we've been trying to address as Move Northern Kenya and as a youth group. And when it comes to the challenges we've been facing, first of all, I am a youth and I am a lady. That's already one challenge. And we've had this issue since we started, because some of the people don't think that they can take instructions from a lady. But all in all, we've made it through. And currently, we're planning a caravan to Ethiopia. This caravan is meant to tackle various SDGs. And we will work on the following SDGs: that's gender equality, quality education, we'll have climate action, we'll also be having things to do with peace, justice, and strong institutions, clean water and sanitation as well. So these are the SDGs that we've decided to work on, because when we look at Northern Kenya and Ethiopia, we face similar issues. And we are also Cushitic in nature, so it will promote cultural exchanges, and it will also promote peace, because everyone will be able to know what this community thinks of the other community, and we'll try to figure out a solution together as a community, and see how we can bring about peace in Northern Kenya as well, and also bring peace in Ethiopia from the southern region. So so far so good. We're still doing our best, and during these 16 days of activism, we'll also be tackling the same SDGs.
Okay,
Yes.
great, Victoria, and I must say that that's bold of you, to take up such an initiative, which is not only addressing one issue but diverse issues. Great accolades there. And maybe to ask you, how long have you been in existence, Victoria?
For me, I've worked in other organizations as a volunteer, but as Move Northern Kenya, we've been in existence for 1 year and 3 months now. Yes.
Okay, that's great. And how do people get involved? Could you take me through how your projects are run?
Okay. What we do is that we get projects from the community. We don't bring our own projects. So after we finish one project, after that we talk to the community. Before we leave the northern part, we ask them, so this is what we've done so far, what do you want us to do next, so that we can at least see progress. We realize that there are bigger organizations in Northern Kenya, but they don't inquire. Like, there's an organization that built latrines they drill boreholes, but no one is using them. Reason being, the community does not see the essence of having them. So these are issues that need to be tackled, and that's why we decided that in every project we must involve the community, but we also put in the professional team to validate. Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. And now just to lead us to the next question. All these projects need resource mobilization, right? I presume that. Yes. So how do you go about mobilizing your resources? How do you go about it?
Okay, being a young organization, obviously it's very hard to get funds. That's tough for a lot of people, a lot of youth. But for us, when we started, the students were the one who are donating items for us, and we've also been working with well-wishers. My voice is breaking. We've also been working with well-wishers, whereby you'll find that every time we create a poster, someone will say, I'm donating this and this bags of food. Another one will say, I'm donating this clothes. The other one, like that. And some donate money. And that's how we've been able to do some of the projects. At least we've been able to, during the first food drive, we were able to reach up to reach out to at least 2,000 families. And when it comes to tree planting, we involve the organizations that do the tree planting, where they donate the trees for us. And then when it comes to the sanitary towels, we also get donors to do that as well. But we've not been able to get a team that will do all the funding. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for that. And I must say that I'm really amazed by the impact you're making at at such an age, and I think that shows the magnitude that young people can have of energy that they have when given opportunities to serve. And even in this 12 days of COP, where we are urging people like million back on projects. I think that is something that has come out clear from your presentation, is that as we come up with projects that are geared towards looking after our common home, that is Mother Nature Earth, one, they should be centered. Two, will also involve young people, because young people have the energy and people have the potential, and we can't afford to lose this. But we can only do is to give them the chance, and once you give them the chance, they're going to do amazing things. As we almost getting to wind up, so what you're doing, I believe, has inspired people, young people out there, and also older people, people in the older generation. And my question would be, what advice would you give to somebody who wants to do something similar to you, and probably is wondering whether or not he or she is up to the task? I mean, you're doing things that you're serving communities who don't have high regard to women. You still step up to the occasion and do amazing things.
I'm so what don't worry.
Yes, what has kept you going?
What has kept me going? So I think that if someone wants to do something, number one, it must come from the heart. Because if you do a project looking at the finance or maybe the profits that you'll gain from there, that might not be possible. For example, people think when you're starting the organization, you have a lot of money. For us, we tend to not have money at all. We don't have it, but at the end of the day, God just makes a way for us and we get it. However, if you're doing something, you have to do it from the heart. And a humanitarian work calls for a lot of patience. There's a lot of challenges that you face along the way, but you need to have that patience. You need to do it with love, so that it cannot be a profit thing, but it can at least help the people you're helping. And when you're dealing with organizations, always remember to listen to the voice of the common mwananchi before doing big projects, and then you end up wasting resources which you would have used to do something else. So I think that the only advice I'll give from all that is do whatever you want to do from the heart, and don't look at the money that you'll receive from doing it. Yes.
Okay. Wow. Nice way to end this conversation with prayer. And again, I must say that I'm really inspired by what you're doing. And the sky is only the limit. So keep soaring, keep going, and you don't have an idea of what the future holds for you and for your entire team. Thank you so much. That was nice having you here.
Thank you as well.
Wow, she's a quite powerful character for someone that young. And she has very clear ideas.
I agree.
I must say I'm in awe of the assertiveness of such a young person in what she wants to achieve. And she certainly is a powerful young woman.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she is. She is very. And I think one of the things I picked from her was women inclusivity in in the whole conversation about climate change. Because I remember even during last year's COP, that was COP27. After the event was over, there was this this conversation that felt that women were not fully represented at COP, and seeing her, being at the forefront in championing such great moves. I mean, I don't know if Richard, you know how it means to be in a patriarchal society. Maybe if I can depict
One
a
day
picture
I will
for you.
find out.
It's a society where women are just, seen as, as tools. Their work is just to give birth and look after home. That is, they're not allowed.
Yep.
They're not allowed even to have to make even a decision of themselves personally. And there's a joke that goes that when men meet in town, in a local town, and one man tell the other man, go say hi to your children. So the woman is also included in the children. So it's actually something else to be in a patriarchal society. So seeing her championing such thing, and she actually alluded to it, that her being a girl, when she was sharing about the challenges that they've faced, her being a lady is a challenge, and it's really amazing, and it brings out a sense of probably it's the time that we have a conversation on let us give women an opportunity to exploit the potential that they have. And we've seen at her tender age, he has done it. He's doing such great things. So how about if we give women older than her, what great opportunities will they offer to the world? So I think I'm listening to her, I see boldness, I see potential in women, and I see us having a conversation on women being given front seats there, and to champion these conversations. My thoughts.
Oh, I mean, I think she gives a whole new meaning to the word girl power. It's yeah, she might not be old, but she's got very clear ideas, and she knows how to express them incredibly well, very eloquently. And like you said, it's I can't really imagine the patriarchal situation in where she lives, but I can kind of imagine it. And she's clearly showing that there is another option, and there is a freedom of choice, if you like, which I tend always to be very, very pro. So hats off to her, and I'm sure whatever she decides to do from here on, she will go on to achieve great things, because only very special people have that amount of assuredness in what they do, really. I certainly don't, but she seems to have it. So how did you meet her, Tim? How did you get in contact with her?
Uh, I got to meet Riptoya during my previous workplace where I was
Yeah.
working, and we had organized an event, and at that time was when she was launching this program, the Northern project, and we had a conversation, and I would see the enthusiast in her when she was taking me through a caravan that she was organizing to Isiolo. Isiolo is the northern part of Kenya, and she would take me through how they're planning to the caravan, how they're mobilizing resources, and how they're planning it, and I could tell, at that glance, and that she was up to something, and it actually materialized. And together with her team of young people, they were able to mobilize resources. They were able to organize even and engage with local people, and you know and I would see her mastery of her craft. You when you hear her talk and say that, if you have to do projects, you have to do projects that are actually people-centered, because it's true. I'll give you a funny story. There's a
Yes, please.
project that we did in some place there in the northern part of Kenya, and we looked around and we saw that women were traveling far distance to fetch water, and we thought, how about if probably we decide to come up with a borehole for them? At least we will have shortened the distance they have to travel to get water. Only to realize after we drilled the water, we drilled the borehole, women were preferring to go the long distance journey to get water instead of using this borehole. So as we were doing the monitoring and evaluation project aspect of it, we realized that, since these women are in a patriarchal society, that is the only time when they go to fetch water far distance, that is the only time they get to go and catch up with each other. So us bringing the water closer to them, we were denying them the privilege to go and catch up with their fellow women. So we learned something we didn't know, because we had not understood the culture of those people. So as Riptra is telling us that, when we embark on such projects, they have to be people-centered. They have to resonate with those people, and that's actually what she was doing. And to me, it brings also it talks volumes on what young people can do as far as
Yeah.
making our environment and our community better, if given opportunities. They have what it takes. They have the energy. They have the potential. They read widely. At her age, she can be able to resonate that I have to have a project that resonates with people for it to be effective. So I think, if young people given opportunity, indeed there is a much that they can do.
Yeah. No, she certainly proves that, I think, with abundance in terms of what she's achieving. And I love the story with the borehole, by the way, because actually it makes total sense. And I'm very sorry for you that you were not successful in shortening their walking distance to that particular source of water. But there you go. You can't have everything in life, Tim. That's just what it is. Well,
Yeah,
well, well.
it is what it is.
There we are. So clock is ticking down. We've saw this amazing young woman at work in northern Kenya, like Tim portrayed, how he got in contact with her. And now, as we're coming a little bit closer to what we will hope will be a very interesting fireside discussion in about 35 minutes, we're going to mellow down a bit. And the reason that we have these kind of clips is that we go from really, really serious issues that we described to something that is still serious, but not in the same way. And I'm talking about music here. And music for me has always been hugely important. It's been a large part of my life, and it's always stood for something tangible, solid, and you're able to take refuge in it, whatever period you're facing. And during these 12 days, we've actually managed to meet a lot of very interesting artists from literally all over the world. And we're going to show them their music, but most of all, they're going to tell their story about why music is important and what brought them into music and how they think about music as a medium for what they are doing. And today, we're going to be speaking to a, well, relatively young Norwegian chap. He's certainly younger than me, but he's probably a bit older than Tim. And he's called Brudini, and he's making music in many styles and fashion. I think he's an immensely interesting character, and he's very, very talented. And I managed to interview him just a few days ago. So this is really, really hot and fresh off the press. And I hope you will be enjoying this clip, just as much as I enjoyed making it. And when that has run its course, hopefully then we should be more or less ready for our final session of the day, which will be a intriguing fireside chat. But until then, I'm going to load up some music for you. And here is this chap I was talking about, a young Norwegian artist, up and coming, making super interesting music, I think, from so many different influences. He's called Brudini, and here he is. Hello, everybody. This is Richard Busolato. With me today, I have another up-and-coming musician, Brudini, from Norway. Actually, not even Oslo. He's from the place called Bergen, which is, I think, Norway's second or third largest city. And here he is with me. And he's going to tell you a little bit about himself first and how he actually got into music. That's where we're going to kick off. And as you can see, we've really caught him in his element because he's sitting in his studio, he's surrounded by instruments and fancy electronic equipment. So we might even ask him to play a tune later. Without further ado, Brudini.
Hey, Richard. It's a pleasure to be on. Yeah, actually today I've been working on. I have a performance on Sunday in the Grieg Hall in Bergen.
Very nice.
Where it's a group of other people, and we're doing kind of an experimental poetry collaboration. So I've been recording a poem and adding a soundscape around it today.
Wow.
But yeah, this is my home, so this is where I live and work. And
where the magic starts.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds...
Magic ends.
It does look amazing to be able to have that at your fingertip, and just reach out whenever your spirit takes you into that composing mode or performing mode and working on something that just pops into your mind, I imagine. I mean, it must be a huge luxury in a way to have the equipment so close at hand and not having to venture and get to a studio before you can start elaborating on things. It really looks fantastic. So, growing up in Norway, how did you get into music? Because it's the life that many of us as youngsters aspired to, It was the lifestyle of choice if you actually had the talent to be able to do it. But some of us just didn't have that talent. Obviously, you do. What brought you into music to start with?
I've always been into music from an early age. My parents would send me into, to have piano lessons when I was a child. I never enjoyed the sight reading and learning these classical pieces. To me, I could spend hours just improvising on my own. Yeah, then I played in a couple of bands as a teenager. I started my own solo project when I was in university. And to go
fast when you're having fun. So you have solo projects, you played with a few bands. What kind of music did you start out with? What was the genre, so people get perhaps a better understanding of where you're coming from musically speaking?
Musically back then, it was Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh dear.
I remember before that, I had a cousin who lived in America, and he came to visit for a summer. And he had Nirvana, Nevermind, with him on a CD. But yeah, from that, Smashing Pumpkins, some early Radiohead, I think.
radio had emerged by then as kind of a new force in music, I guess, which must have been very influential on people setting out their journey like you did, because they were really not a game changer, but they had a new sound when they came on board, and they became quite influential, I think, for a lot of bands, just like Nirvana was. But Nirvana perhaps for other reasons as well, because of the whole myth around such a short career. So those are your influences.
Yeah, I kind of came from a bit of that punk, raw energy, saturated guitars, in an artsy way. Radiohead probably then took it a step further, because I remember when they came with OK Computer.
Yeah.
It was very late 90s, wasn't it? That was like something no one had ever heard before.
Oh, it definitely hit the scene in a way that, you know, people took notice. If you were the least into music, you heard about them, you read about it in magazines, that these were new kids on the block and they were doing different things. And I think they're probably more influential than most people imagine in music scene. So yeah, I can see where you're coming from, a kind of musically. But to enhance that further, we're actually going to play the first track with you here. So here he is, Brudini performing.
Radio man, 90 miles an hour, everything's planned, no room for disorder. I watch you to solve. I watch you to solve. Your eyes light up the sky. Radiant man, high on the wire, slipping like sand, cradling a fire. I watch you to solve. I watch you to solve. You can't outrun the light while your gaze sinks into the sand. Your eyes light up the sky. Tusen tack.
Then, because I did a long detour before I got into the music, which was, I played in my teens and my student years. Then I went on to a different career. I went into finance, where I worked in London with you, amongst others, for
Indeed.
13 years.
Wow.
And believe it or not, there was always actually my plan to at some point go back into music. I guess 4 or 5 years ago, the timing felt right. There were a couple of life changes happening at the same time, which and I made a switch. But I think kind of the second time into it, I did have some of these influences that you mentioned that really kind of not pushed me, but inspired me and encouraged me to do it.
Yeah. It's a fantastic journey. And, there are so many moving parts in there. I can't even keep track of them. Basketball, really? In Norway? I don't associate Norway with basketball, more like skiing and possibly football, and ice hockey is more Sweden and Finland, but basketball as well. Wow. That is cool, actually.
Well, I'm also 1 meter and 73 centimeters, so it was always a bit of an uphill struggle.
Okay, yeah, I see your point, because I'm a little bit taller than that, but I was always considered quite small to ever play either basketball or volleyball, actually. But let's not stray into the area of sport from music where we are now. So 13 years in London, high-powered finance job, you come back, almost like a second bite at the apple, but you're back where you always envisaged you would end up at some point in your life. Now you're making music. A large part of your life is around music. You're touring, you're playing different venues everywhere, you're recording when you can. Where do you see yourself going over the next sort of 5, 10, 15 years? I'm sure you feel your music has evolved as well on the way. And what musical direction do you think you will be taking from here? Will it always be what I feel is quite experimental and a blend of a lot of things? Or are you going to focus more on one genre, you think?
No, I think it'll always be a blend, an experimental blend of things. If we mentioned some of my early influences, in a grown age, I've probably evolved quite a bit from that. Like, my influences now are much more diverse. Jazz, what we call world music, or kind of music from different parts of the world, experimental music. I love classical music, and like the material I'm working on now it's a little bit all over the place, actually, ranging from kind of experimental songwriter to krautrock to, like, today I'm doing it's a poem basically with a 7/8 beat in the background and kind of drones and piano. So it's very diverse. And then your question as to where I see myself in 5 or 10 years, like I think when you're younger, you kind of think, I want to play in front of 5,000 people, or I want to be like on a world tour, or I want to be famous, or whatever it is. I think as you get older, certainly for me, my perspectives have probably changed a little bit. If this thing grows and whatever, that's great. But what I feel, the reason I'm doing this actually is what I really enjoy is to facilitate places where people can meet, experience something which is maybe slightly different from what they're used to. Have people come together who are different backgrounds, different ages, and create a setting where people can reflect, can maybe experience something new, can broaden their horizon, or just be present as as human beings.
Citizens of the world getting together,
Yeah.
experiencing something. Yeah, I can relate to that totally.
So if I can, you know, facilitate these spaces, whether it's a tiny event of 5 people or 10 people, or it's a bigger show, that doesn't really matter that much to me. But I really want to create a space where people can meet, and we can understand things together, and we can kind of tear down barriers together.
Wow, that's very profound.
That's my ambition, really, and that's, I think that's something you can succeed with, whether it's on a small scale or it's on a huge scale.
Oh, absolutely. That I have no doubt about. But it's very, those are very, very profound thoughts from someone who is still relatively young. If Mick Jagger had said that, he would have had a little bit more life horizon behind him of saying that's my perspective on things. But I think our viewers can totally appreciate where you're coming from and what your real ambition in life is. And I think it should be applauded, because it really shows, I think, an extreme maturity and insight into what matters in life for many of us. No doubt. Well, now we've been talking for a bit, and I think it's time for us to listen to you again before we go on any further. So here he is, one more time, Brodini. Hello, everybody, again. We're back, and we're sitting here with Brodini live from Bergen in Norway, in his studio, surrounded by instruments and equipment. So now, this is your life. You're making music. We talked about how your real ambition is actually much more profound than releasing a track that gets a couple of thousand uploads on Spotify. There's much more to your music than that. Where do you see music in general moving? I mean, the life of a musician has changed dramatically from when you and I were growing up, when you made your money effectively selling records, and you don't do that anymore. Musicians earn their living in very, very different forms. And how do you build a livelihood in 2023 if you're a musician and this is your main source of income?
I think it's a good question, because in the old days when you had record sales, you could still be an underground band, but if you sold 10, 15,000 albums globally and had like a sound following, you could, I don't know, multiply that with 3 quid, and you could still make 50 grand a year from those sales, even if you're, on a global scale, a very marginal artist.
Yeah.
This day of streaming, that opportunity is gone.
Absolutely.
The ability to actually make money from music, I'd say, is significantly harder. It seems to me like either you're making nothing, or you kind of break through and you're making a lot. So, I mean, for me, I'm still reliant on other sources of income to make a living. I mean, that's the negative side of it. The positive side is that anyone can make music now. Anyone can build a home studio. With digital equipment. Like, stuff is very accessible now. You don't have to go to an expensive studio to make an album. As such, I think we're seeing a lot more people, young and old, who are finding a lot of joy in expressing themselves through music.
It's become more democratic.
So it's more democratic, but it's also harder to make money from it, and in some ways that makes it less democratic, because that I just feel like if you are a musician or you're trying to become a musician, life's a lot easier if you come from a bit of money, basically. If you don't have anyone who can support you, that journey is a lot more difficult these days.
Life's gone harder for musicians as well, not just for everyone else with the cost of living crisis. So there we are. Very profound words, if I may say so, from a relatively young man compared to me, from Bergen, Oslo. Please send us off with something cheerful as we close this part of our event.
Okay. I'll play a song which I'll hopefully release in the not too distant future. So far it's instrumental. If there ever is a vocal line on it, might, but for now it's instrumental. So and it's called Universe.
Wow. Live, proper, via the studio in Bergen, where he is right now, Brodini. Thank you so much for spending this time with us and telling us your story.
Thanks, Richard.
There he was, Brodini, at the time live from Bergen. And needless to say, I'm a big fan of his music. I think it has many dimensions and he's very technically gifted, and his songs really resonate with me, whether they're instrumental or lyrics. And music, as I said, has been a huge part of actually my whole journey through life. And I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that it's one of the real cornerstones around which I think life actually revolves. I don't know where I would be without music and art, because it truly is beauty in life. What about you, Timothy? How do you feel about music and what music has sort of meant for you through the years?
Okay, great. Unlike you, I've not actively been involved in music, but I enjoy music. I think music for me is what I use to, especially if I'm doing something, if I want to engage in an activity and I want to psych myself, I get to listen to music. When I probably am going through a bad day, I get to listen to music. I do it as sort of a therapy for me, and also I enjoy some good music, of course, when with my friends, and they want us to maybe have some hangouts. I enjoy the music, but from a point where I compose my songs, I've not yet gotten there. I don't know if I'll get there, and but I admire. I love music. There's some magical aspect of music that that comes along when you have a bad day. It has a way of turning your mood to something better. And yeah, maybe you can tell us more that more now that you've been in the music for quite some time. How has it evolved over the time? I know Rubidi has mentioned a few, but from where you sit, two different generations. How was it then, and how is it now? How has it evolved?
I think music has evolved immensely, and particularly the economics around music has changed dramatically, like Eric was telling us here. I think it's a very different ball game, and it seems to me like either you're phenomenally well off by making music, or you're kind of struggling to make ends meet, and you probably need to supplement it with some other income. And with something we're going to talk about later on during these 12 days of COP, because we have another set of musicians joining, and there is another small clip with Brodini when he speaks more about outlook in life and what it all means to him. So we are going to move and speak more about that later. But right now we are having a guest joining us for the fireside chat. Iram has just joined us here with me and Tim, and she's brought along a very distinguished guest, someone we're looking forward to speaking to. And I will bring in Shabana Asif. I hope I did pronounce that correctly.
Yes, you did. So welcome, Madam Shabana.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
I can hear you loud and clear. How are you doing? So let me introduce. let me introduce her. Madam Shabana is one of the leading women entrepreneur over here in Pakistan, and she has been into the federation and the convener for the economy and sheet trade development. She is right now, like, I'm a team of her, and we are working on the sheet trade development. And she has done a lot for the gender equality and education and entrepreneurship. So welcome on board, Madam Shabana. How are you?
Thank you so much taking on board. I'm fine and I'm glad to join you.
Yeah, Richard and me are here, and we are talking about this a fireside chat that we're gonna do. It is like they're very amazing. Timothy is here. We all are the team of It's for You, It's for Me, and It's for Everyone. So today, as I'm gonna ask you about the what is gender equality for you, and what is the entrepreneurship means to you. Can you just let me know?
Yes, entrepreneurship is the women's and the man's is going the business, doing business and start that business and come on the first step of coming in businesses. That's for the entrepreneurships, the whole proprietor and the different kind of the jobs doing in that part is called the entrepreneurship.
Yes, and I guess like gender equality, as we've been doing so many trainings from ITC International Trade Centers and many other things, we are working on the gender equality and bringing up the decent work for the women. Like she has worked over years and years, and that's why I inspired her because we worked together from years and years, and it's been amazing job that she's been doing. Like she's been guiding women how to start the women businesses and how we can do a lot of stuff like educating them into entrepreneurship and many other things. So I guess it is essential for economic prosperity. That is what I say. Societies that value women and men together, they get more prosper. This is what I think. And do you agree, Madam Shabana? Do you agree on that? When women and men work together, it is more prosper.
Yes, of course, because both are the part of the both different part of the life, and they are going together to do the equality base of doing jobs and businesses, all of things.
Okay, so tell us about yourself. How did you started this journey? Because like other ladies are sitting home and doing nothing, and you've been there everywhere in the entire city to telling ladies how to start the business, what to do, and you're helping them. And I'm one of them.
Yes, I am very fond of the kind of designer dresses, and then I always start the business last to 20 or 25 years ago, and we also start then design the dresses and gave the handwork on my dresses and take out it in international platforms because we promote the handicraft or handwork, Pakistani handwork in the international market. That's why I was doing this, and then after that we several years we do the pass on the things that another women they come new start their business. I guide them and promote their businesses as well.
Thank you so very much. There's another team just calling from Islamabad, and she's praising you that you doing a fabulous stuff. And I guess working together on the gender equality is the basic thing. I guess we together in Federation of Pakistan, we stand for the women, by the women, and for the women kind of thing. That we let ladies take their businesses abroad. So there are so many business ladies who Shabana has helped. And now these days they have textiles. These days they're doing something in designing stuff. And especially one of the company of Shabana's has just opened in Nairobi, I guess.
No, no,
Shabana,
no.
where did
In
company?
Africa, Senegal,
Senegal.
Dakar, in Africa.
Senegal, we have just registered a company over there because we're the ladies from the textile, and as I am also a fashion designer, and we're a manufacturer of many other things. So we have a lot of ladies. The other day we had that Texpo happen here, the World Texpo in Pakistan, and the delegation of the amazing, delegation of Senegal. They came over, they bought a lot of stuff because we designed silk scarves and the home linen and everything. Shabana has a textile and her own, and then she's doing amazing stuff. What is the name of the company, Madam Shabana?
It's my company name is Manas Collection Private Limited, and in the textile business I have done in the FS Textiles.
Okay. So, getting what I say, always say that your network is your net worth. So when we talk about business development, we talk about gender equality, we talk about education, because empowering and educating, making ladies work more appropriate, because proper awareness about
It's
educating
my
women.
belief that I share my yes. Yes, it's my belief that I share my experiences and share my different kind of efforts that we are doing in businesses and handiworks and all that things. We are promoted that product in Pakistan goes to trade internationally trade. Then I also have a committee in PCCI Economy and Sheet Trade Development. It means that the women who have done their businesses and go to export and trade, doing trade at that platform.
Okay, so as per, like, we all are discussing about the women businesses around the world, that the ladies are doing work, women are making a difference, and there are so many others who has the product and doesn't know how to connect with the people. So it's for you, it's for me, and it's for everyone. This thing is like this entire conference, COP28, is just connecting many of the countries together. Either you live in Qatar, or you live in Kuwait, you live in Saudi Arabia, or you live in Norway. We all are together because this is the journey of symphony of billion voices. I guess, Madam Shabana, uh, what is the procedure if we wanted to take a gender equality situation, gender equality to make the society more prosper? What are the measures that we have to take?
We have take their we have registered our companies and come on the right way, on the platform chooses right way platforms. They goes to straight for a better facilitation, give better facilitation of the women's entrepreneurs. And because in our country there were so many women are doing businesses, but they didn't know the formalities of the registration and all that, and they have not get their things because they didn't know aware of the things, or that how to they uh, doing our businesses and exports or trade. That's why we have a committee, and we are supporting, or we are aware, giving awareness to in on the that ladies they're doing that businesses and come on exports.
So tell me about it, that your product, how many countries it is going to?
Right now, we are have a distributing company in Senegal or in all Africa, and I also doing now in Europe, and I also at my first time we go in Tex World USA in 2010, and I display my products, and so many person like this, and that's why we are also interested to go internationally and made in give the tag on made in Pakistan in each and every international market.
So that's really impressive, and I am. That's why I'm into your acquaintance, and this is why I learn every day, because I am a learner. So I guess when it is very important, the gender equality. When we talk about it, men and women working together. In few of the societies, like our society, has a problem that women doesn't have to go. But these days, because of the awareness and because ladies are working, women are working in every field, like either it's medical or pharmacy, or even internet, or even in AI and cybersecurity. So I'm very proud of my women of my country over here, that they are taking part like other part of the women of the world are doing it. So as per, all we need is some awareness sessions, and all we need that we can guide the right pavement, the right thing to the right people, because the product is so good in our country, in Pakistan, and they can make properly organic footballs and everything like that, that we have worked with Madam Inger as well from Norway. I myself has generated how many the scarf, the silk scarf, which is like made in Pakistan, and we support made in Pakistan, and we send it over there. But entire globe has different countries, and everyone should do one climate friendly fashion trends. This is what I wanted to do. Like the over here, like Madam Shabana has some ethical designs, and then she talks about the textile, the home linen, and everything, which is like all made by a fiber over here, and then it is high quality, which is we are sending over there. So there's a way of doing businesses everywhere. So gender equality is a must. I guess it's a fundamental right for the women as well, who can just use that right, and can come forward, and can step up, and can live the life they want to, I guess. So Madam Shabana, just let me know that if you have a chance to connect with the people of Africa, because Africa is your target market, and you've been sending your products over there. So it's Senegal and many Congo and many other places. Your products are going over there, and I'm very proud of that. Like this is the spirit that we're gonna do, like doing a business development over there, along all it's about by the women, for the women, and we are working together. Either we have connections over there, because I say when your connections are strong, it's the network that is your net worth. So do you agree, Madam Shabana?
Yes, I agree, because all the time we have searching the our buyers over there. Then that law from we use for connection the internationally and Africa and other Europe also. That's we need the platforms at the time now. Hello.
Hello, Irum. Hi. I can see that you're unmuting yourself, Irum. Hello. We cannot hear you, Irum.
Oh, the lady is here.
Yes.
So
yes,
now you
yes.
can have it. So how are you?
Thank you, Irum. I was just following you, and I was jumping into the stage of It's For You at the time when I understood that you were talking to
So
yourself.
let me introduce you. Yeah. So let me introduce you to one of my very, very inspiring lady over here in Pakistan. She has companies in Senegal, and she's doing fashion. See, this is what I'm saying. She's doing fashion, and she's working on fashion products, and she's registered companies in different. She's been sending stuff to many of the European countries as well, and she has a textile. home living. So I'm very impressed, and I am a partner to her. Now we are like, as being a convener to the federation, she has been doing amazing job in women empowerment and in gender equality. She's creating jobs. She's creating opportunities for women. So, Madam Shabana, that's Inga. That I'm gonna just introduce Inga. Inga is one of my virtual friend and a business partner. A lot of stuff together. So this is something we are talking about. We are all ladies over here. We're doing amazing stuff together. Let's just meet Inger Mate.
Thank you.
Hello,
Thank you.
everyone. How are
Yes,
you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice. Same here.
I think I like to start from a point where I'm like a businesswoman, like a busy man or business woman. I think I'm also very much into social entrepreneurship, where we can look at how we can make a structures that is kind of socially good for humanity and the people that's using the services or products, and also it's respect for nature. So how can we really make a innovation that is sustainable, good for humanity and for all of us, and with dignity and respect for nature. And I've been looking at how we can do that in the business of fashion and jeans. And Iram was mentioning sportswear. How can that be more sustainable? And of course, I've been looking at how a circular economy comes into place. Again, the thing about so many things are good, but other things are not really good. And in a way, we need to educate the buyers. And I mean, both the buyers working in retail or in wholesale, but also us as consumers. For example, cotton is not good, but everybody thinks it's good to have a white cotton blouse, for example. But cotton uses water and the pesticides, and the way it's pure white cotton needs to have chlorine, and the pollution of the fashion industry is very, very, very high, and all our consumer goods. So that comes to a price. And my engagement these days is very much into the social venture of an adventure of climate education and the climate school, and how we really can sell books online, sell school clothes, shoes, bags, everything. It's a full scale of merchandises in many directions, if you like. So I'm here just for the fireside chat, and when I look at you, Iram, I can see the bubblings of color, and we need all kind of creative ideas in the time. And I had to work on design thinking, work on Internet of Things, work on the smart core coding and smart way to produce or stuff, what we can say. And by the way, we are producing too much.
Yes.
Over to you.
Shabana, let me just let you know that she is one woman from Norway that is working in diverse fields, and she is doing amazing. He is one of the founder of the climate schools over there, and she's doing. See, women are making, a mark in the world. Like it's me sitting over here, Shabana sitting over here, Inger Mate, and as I inspired her work, she's very intelligent and a fashion entrepreneur as well. So we back then we did Silk Road, and it was amazing. Like we synergized together like one, and we did it, and it's like the ideas that I've got, she's just on the same page. So with Shabana Inger, she is an amazing entrepreneur as well. She proved herself that a woman can also run a textile. She's making home textile things and sending it to Senegal, sending it to Europe, sending it to USA. So Shabana, tell us about that that journey that you overcome. how did you start it, and how did you see that the men of your your company or your family were doing that textile, but then you step in and you wanted to do it yourself? I need to hear the story.
My story is I am starting my business last 25 years, and I inspire my grandmother. She's doing stitching in wholesale stuffs, and he's a stitcher. And I also try to I also learned that is stitching, and after that, in 2010, we have used one project of USAID, or in whole Pakistan entrepreneurs. They have trainings and other things, and after that I made handmade tunics for that project, and I am selected whole Pakistan. One of them I am selected, two ladies are selected over there, and they got the Tex World in New York stalls, and I go there and I display our products. All my tunics is handmade, all hand embroidery over it there, and there were my first experience. Then I was go for internationally day by day, and doing that business different. Now we are starting wholesale proper textile, home textile towels in Africa, and also learn and search the market for Europe also.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'd love to
And
see the. So where do you produce your handcrafted textile with the
I also make that my handcraft textile at my website. Also, I have my own make it now. I make it on order, because uh, then we go the internationally participate international exhibition, then I make it and take it over there. And now we are export towels, because their running item is towels there, and then my designer, they think that when we go internationally exhibit, then I make it that kind of a product.
That's wonderful.
Well,
Shabana, tell them about it.
we should share your web page, and because this thing about the handcraft and artisanship, it is very, very interesting. And as Irum is saying, that we started my dream is actually to contribute, that we can make something for women that is putting at we call it at the time the digital Silk Road, and also we call it the fashion dialogues, and yeah, and it's a unique opportunity if we really come together, and we can say that the Silk Road of the future is about circular economy. It's from the arms and the loaves, the fingers and hearts of the farmers or the person making the clothes. Because in fast fashion, we are producing too much. So we have to slow down, make it more creative, make things more beautiful. So we're actually living in a very creative, exciting times where we can use technology as to print, we can use new fabric. As Irum was saying, I experimented with fish leather as from salmon, waste from salmon. So it's
I also want to go to learn in the international exhibition like Hamtex over there. I also want to go there and learn the thing, new techniques, new different kind of thing. There is burst of textile in textile
it's
designing
amazing.
and
Yeah.
designing. That's I
it's so
know I
beautiful.
yeah
So
yeah.
beautiful. And I was working in Italy last fall with youngsters, working to learn how to make embroidery and learn the
Yeah.
whole handcrafts from
Embroidery,
northern
or
Italy.
many different kind of there. They didn't stitch bulk dresses. They press and they done their dresses. There are different techniques over there. I also love to go and
But
then
you know
take the
the thing is the first steps and the funding for it. And I also like to say that, but you know, with the Pakistani diaspora, for example, in Oslo is quite huge. And I talk with also the thing about knitting, like the grandmothers, everybody knit, and the knitting and wool tradition, like in Kashmir, you have Kashmir wool, which is like it's like champagne from Champagne, and it's wool from Kashmir. You know, it has this kind of quality stamps. And there's so many beautiful things we can do. But Irum, I'm not sure if you were together with me and Sadaf when I shared the fashion dialogue presentation. Yeah. Please go.
I put my tunics in all Tanga, Kashmiri, Balochi, and all of things, all Tanga of Pakistani. I use it my in tunics are done.
Yeah.
Shabana, let me explain her. Let me explain her what you're talking about. Okay. So Shabana has worked on the hand embroidery. Hand embroidery. We did the coats for the women, and we did it with the organic fiber, and it is really nice, and it is dyed in the color which is like climate friendly. It's not like that. So the thing is, it was all very good one. And then we did the silk scarves, and she made me the Pakistani silk, and we printed it from her textile, and then now we are just sending it all over the world. And this is something amazing. She's got a manufacturing place over there in Karachi, and it's an industrial area, and she has all that home linen thing, and she has dedicated that place for the women workers, which is, I respect her so much.
So if both of you on my allow me to share the project concept for the project that we did in 2020, Irum, because sometimes you have to recycle ideas. It was too early, it was not the right time, but if you allow me, I will share that, because it's the inspiration from Irum and Sadaf from 2022, and we call it the Fashion Dialogues. And I will share this screen again, and I think it can work. Well, let me see if I can find my yes, here it is. It's Fashion Dialogues. And this we did. I wrote it in November 2020 as a Fashion Dialogues. My inspiration at the time, since I was in Paris for the Paris Agreement and COP28 at the time in 2015, and we made a charter to respect and climate for the sake, change fashion industry for the sake of the climate. And this is again coming up for 2028, and it will be stronger and stronger. It's very complicated to change an industry. But I like to share this thing with the handcraft as new luxury. This is the national icon fashion from Norway. Like more or less every women get this for when they for the confirmation, they get it like an inherited dress, or they make it new. And here you can see the handcraft is stitched. So this is like a national costume for the celebration of the important celebration for the family, weddings, confirmation, national day, you name it. And you can see here, so I put up the prices on this, but here you can see even dogs and animals and babies are produced this kind of national costume. And here you can see how the national day of celebration. So I can see that it's a heritage, it's local history, it's family history, and it's made with love and care. And you can give it, it's a gift from grandmother to granddaughter and grandfather to grandson. So it has, here you can see modern technology, and it's 100% made in Norway, and it's made to last for generation. It is an art. And here you see it in different, we call it bunade, but now of course, it's also produced in Thailand and in China, as you can see, combined with silver and jewelry. And that's also locally made, used to be. Here comes the interesting thing. It's called économe musée. It's like a French Canadian word. It's artisan at work. And it means that we can really promote handcraft and together with tourism. So it's like tourism and to meet the artisan and their work environment. It's the learning and to discover the beauty of authentic products made and sold on site. And this is the Silk Road that we started in 2020, and the ecosystem of the Silk Road from Quebec to the Silk Road, and the legacy of the Silk Road, and silk and fashion and mirror and perfume and ideas and music and trade. That is the Silk Road, the ancient deep history of Pakistan as we had it at the time in 2020. So this is heritage that earned its keep. It's handcrafted plus art, and it's a new luxury. And then I showed this together with the Mariaki people at the time in 2020 from Greece. And they have a nature green factory and a circular economy and bioenergy. It's a model how we can think in a circle partnership between, and here I'm suggesting like a new partnership with Egypt, Greece, and Pakistan, and of course together with Norway. Here is the handcrafted from Citral at the time, collage and arts and handcrafted. You see lighted dye here, and in fact is part of the cultural heritage of humankind with 2,300 years in Pakistan. It's really highly appreciated. Here is a reference to the art that I've been fortunate to live in Egypt, in Siwa, and this is the handcraft of the women going way back in time to the fountain of the sun and the Egyptian history, as you can understand. So here you see the handcraft of Pakistan, Egypt, and Norway, and we can see the similarities. And this is a very popular in the market these days. And this is again back to the natural green factory with natural dye, and we respect its local resources and culture and people, and learn to trade in a way. So this is to export handcraft as an art for the modern era and to really build up a new art crafts. This is like just randomly tunics and dresses.
Excellent piece.
So this is so this is just like recycling an idea, my friend. I'll stop here.
Yeah.
So, but it's an old idea.
So you know what, like if I
yeah. So this it's an old idea that we can recycle again and to bring forward. See here, please show us what you have, and we can. Irum, we can't hear you. Irum.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, listen, if I may share the asiconic.com that Sadaf and me started it back there in Silk Road.
Absolutely,
And we had so if I try to just share over here, let's see if I can the slides. Yes. Okay.
Did you like it, Shabana? Did you like it, the recycle idea?
Yes, I like it, and I'll show you a one lamp.
She's asked.
I show one lampshade. They also make the recycle pattern. This is lampshade.
Yeah.
We doing the leftover fabrics and make a lampshade.
Yes.
We also do recycling idea.
Yeah, you have this creative, colorful truck art from Pakistan.
Yeah. I also have a truck art, and I also have a different kind of block print and block silk paper, block print in natural dyes with natural dyes. Very much different kind of handwork over there. Here is the heritage also.
So let us.
So Inger, I think I'm going to just send the asiconic.com PDF because I couldn't just do it over here. And what I have started with you in, back there, COVID started, right? We started that thing, and it's not in style. The one I am wearing one. I'm just going to share it with you on your WhatsApp, and then tomorrow we're going to show it. All right?
Yes, we can do.
Yeah, because we need to have a fashion entrepreneur sustainability, how we can make a difference into the fashion entrepreneurship, so that entire people, like I know so many of the entrepreneurs who are from fashion around the globe, they can also come around and they can listen to us. Buy this, what it's for you, it's for me, and it's for everyone. When I say that, it means that you are a global citizen and you can join the community right away, because we all are open to have some registrations with you. Let me know if you're a fashion entrepreneur or you're working as a woman. And because we work, it's a fundamental right for the women also to work under the gender equality and get the opportunity done. So yes,
Yes.
Madam
And
Anna, you
I,
have some products, though, right?
so I was putting myself, like you see my background, there's a fireside chat picture or like photo. And I said, like, women are the fire, and that's the symbol of the kitchen, you know, when you really talk about things that is important, you can sit around the fire and open your heart and say, this is my desire, can we do this, and can we do this, and you make food together, and you know, this is the symbol of an open heart. So you can share, like, find a nice people to work with, and have building trust and help each other. And it's like it's like building a win-win-win structure that you can you know, make things move. So
Yes.
to
So you know what, Inga, I'm just sending you over there the file about the Not in Style. Let me tell you the story of Not in Style. It's Not in Style is a product of mine by IF Design Studios, as I am a fashion entrepreneur as well, and is designer of many other things. So I thought that we should do something that it matches the needs of the international market, so that I can also I be the one who just can reach over there and can do something. So in the days of COVID, I gathered few ladies who just gathered some of the jeans pieces and many of the things that we can gather around on those days, because the markets were closed and those days were very difficult to get out and take out the things out and then send it with the DHL. So around like what, 8 countries, I DHL them the products of Pakistan, which is like one of the pure leather shoes, which is all hand painted and embroidered, which we call it kussa over here. And then afterwards, there were some silk scarves, the denim pants, the shirts, and all that. These are those ladies who made it. And then, as Norway has the rose garden theme, we have truck art. So we matches with Norway, because Norway has the rose garden theme, and we have the truck art theme over here. It's very colorful. So I made few of the scarves and sent it to her. And thank you to Inga, she made it happen. The model shoot over there in those days. That is so amazing. In COVID, they did a fashion shoot with the silk scarves, the boots, the jeans, and the shirt. And bravo to Madam Inger, that she has done a lot in the fashion field in those days when people are stuck in their rooms, their homes, their offices. They're not even going into it. Was all online. So we ladies were busy working together. So now Shabana will be the next one with us, because she has a textile, a manufacturing unit over here.
it's amazing. But let me share the give you some kind of compliments, Iram, because here the knot style and the scarves, you know, can you see it?
Thank you so much.
So this is
Oh,
Iram Awad official. You know, this is the knot style for men. Can you see how beautiful it's like a cravat? So this is,
correct.
yes, it's beautiful for the men as well. It's not, so you can make beautiful style for men, and you know, this is a commercial market. So we're really to make it internationally for for the gentlemen. So it's not only women talk, but it's the elegance of men as well. Isn't it good?
Yes. Iram, you also put your picture in your website and page your night style scarves.
Yeah, and here you see for the scarves, the beautiful scarves, and what Iram has made. Isn't it beautiful? It's just the beginning. We have to bring it forward, and this we were doing during the COVID. This is the Iram Fawad official. You know, what if we can really make?
So this is what it is. This is the silk scarves that Shabana has made for me, and this is the manufacturer. I manufactured it from there, and all the entire silk material, and then the printing on it. It is done by Shabana. That is so amazing.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Yes, thank you so very much. And then, it's a fashion story that we can tell. We have hundreds of billions of stories together because it's my lifetime. I can speak for fashion around what? It's a 26 years old story. And, we are just making a difference still. So Shabana, we women are making a difference as you are on the world's globe by COP28 UAE, and it's for you. So congratulations, you are now official, citizen of our community, which is called It's For You. I say it's for you, it's for me, and it's for everyone. So yes,
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now we are.
We are. We talk about, it's not I.
Yeah.
It's we talk about. We talk about women entrepreneurship. That stands for we. So we educate, we tech, we network, we do business. So that's what it is.
The scarf. Yes, please. The scarf and everything is beautiful. Yes.
And if you see at my back, there is the lampshade. This is also making the recyclable fabric in leftover dresses. We make it a recyclable fabric.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. So, she has made all of these applique work by recycled fabric.
Applique or rally work, applique work.
Yeah.
This kind of things is make a rally work.
Yes. So no, it's an ocean of opportunities. It's just like being focused and say, what do we do and how can we take the first step and make it commercially, and to make it beautiful products and respect for nature and bringing dignity to the manufacturers and to all of us in many ways. So, but I think I have to check out now, Iram.
Okay.
So take a lead. I think I have to go back, and I'm seeing a couple of calls coming in at the end of the day over here in Europe, and I know that you're in the middle of.
Goody. Thank you so much for joining us. I am so happy to see you. Hi, Richard. How you doing?
All good, thank you. I have a question for Shabana, which I sort of been thinking about as I joined the discussion here. You obviously use the material you can gather, which is super interesting, I think, because it clearly shows that we don't wasting things. But first of all, what are the biggest challenges you're facing? Is it finding the material, or is it finding markets who will buy it? And secondly, if you could go back in time and say, I wish I had done that instead, that would have made it so much easier for my business to progress, what would that have been?
That's why in current situation we have also herders in get the textile over here for made in Pakistan textile, because most of the companies brought their fabric in some other countries, import there, and then I make my product on that fabric and go out to internationally participate in internationally and take order, then we get next time we didn't get that fabric. That is the kind of hurdles over here. And yeah, then also we also have some buyers. We also have buyers. No, we have no B2B meetings in Pakistan. There is so kind of the things. We also go the international market to make our taking order and go over there.
I see. I see.
Okay, let me add it. Let me add it because we work together as I am also the deputy convener for economy and she trade development, and I'm at the Federation of Pakistan over here. So you know what, like women has less. You can speak in Urdu. I can tell him. You can
ये
speak
मैं
in
कह
Urdu.
रही हूँ कि हमें ना यहाँ पे जो वर्किंग करनी पड़ती है ना, कि वो हमें कपड़ा लेने में हमें वो यहाँ पे प्योर कपड़ा है, बनता है, लेकिन मिलता नहीं है, और उसके लिए हमें बहुत एफर्ट करनी पड़ती है तो अपनी प्रोडक्ट बनाने के लिए, ताकि हम वो
Okay.
इंटरनेशनल मार्केट
What
में यहाँ
she's
मेड इन
saying is,
पाकिस्तान प्रोडक्ट लेके जाएं.
okay, so she's very much interested in making the made in Pakistan stuff because she's got a manufacturing unit over here. But the thing is, like the main problem, that the main question that you asked, that what are the hurdles and what is difficult to get, is like number one, the material that we find pure organic material that is not very much available, and plus she is talking about the B2B meetings with the international community. The B2B meetings, as we are women, I know how to do it. I am on the export portals, but then other ladies who has that ethical and sustainable product with them, they cannot reach them. So the main problem is to get connected to the international market as well. As I am one of the export development website agent, so I connect with different of the ladies. If it is up to the mark of the export, we send it. So this is what she's trying to say.
I understand.
And we also don't have the small industry setup, because the entrepreneurs have minimum finance things, और वो यानी कि हम लोग को उसको क्या कह सकते हैं उसको
You can speak in Urdu. I can translate. Yes.
I cannot help you though.
Yeah.
But I rely on Iram.
No, I can. I am the playing the interpreter for It's For You as well. It's okay.
बस अब थोड़ी सी मेरे बस दिमाग से ही निकल गया कि क्या मैं कहना चाह रही थी. It's okay.
So anyhow, she is very much interested to connect with other people. Like she and her brother has opened a company in Senegal. Just like it's been 6 months, we had an expo over here in Pakistan, and many of the delegations of international people visited us. Around 45 countries visited us, and I got partnered with her, and then we did a stall over there so that we can showcase our stuff, what Pakistani women are capable of doing it. It's been her experience is like around 35 years into textiles, and she has been teaching different entrepreneurs how to start a business of fashion. So I'm one of that. I'm her mentee, and she's been telling me, do this, do that, don't do that. She's more than a friend.
It's a fantastic story.
Yes.
Hi, Madam Shabana. I can only wish you full progress, best of luck, not that you need it. And I hope to hear from you again and hear how the business has proceeded. Thank you so much for sharing it with us today.
So very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I love to join in next also.
Looking forward to that.
Inshallah, I'll just schedule you up. It is really very good fire chat, and thank you so much. You can leave Shabana. We have so many other people over here, so we can do some interview. Thank you so much for your
Thank you
time.
so
I
much.
appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.
So we are coming towards the very end of today's second session. I want to remind
nice.
you all that we are running 7 o'clock tonight, London time, and we are running 7 o'clock tomorrow, Tokyo time, because that's our hour. And this was the 7 o'clock Karachi slot that you have just about heard us finish. As we had some technical issues when we started off today and we couldn't do our first clip about prayers and meditation, we are going to end the whole segment today with that clip because we think it's very profound, it has a lot of meaning, and it makes us all reflect. So I'll give you that as the end, and I look forward to seeing you later tonight, 7 o'clock London, and tomorrow at 7 o'clock Tokyo. I'm Richard. We had with me Iram, and I had with me Timothy to guide me through this session. And to finish it off, like I said, it's going to be the clip we were meant to show when we started out, but couldn't do it for technical reasons. So here it comes. Thank you so much for viewing us and tuning in.
Bye-bye.
I think fundamentally, if all of us understand that we are part of a God or child of a God, meaning that we are good and we love or light or peace itself. If we concentrate, if we want to be, if we make effort to become like God, the consequences are all good, meaning that we help each other, we will be connected to each other. We do not wish anything bad happen to us, to animal, to insect, anything on the planet. If we call it, it is a truth. If you do glimpse of this truth or try to find, what is the truth in our life, I think those people who are getting there understand, while all the others who are still understanding a material side of the world, it would be very difficult. Because as you say, we in the past, we learned to solve, there's a problem, we solve this problem. But it's all connected. It's just one facade, the same issue has a different story or faces. So if we understand that, so, we all unselfishly love where we live, this planet, and all the human nature, and then we have different worlds, and obviously it's far from it, and it's very hard for it to get there. But I think fundamentally that's what it is. And I think some people start understanding that, and I think that's why people wants to do something, environmental or whatever they do understand to make it better. Therefore, I think, Cynthia's approach is good because she thinks that all of us who do understand, timeless space and connection with the universe or the God, whatever you call it, and then we work hard for it, for the, not just the individual, but whole, people as a whole. I think we all raise our vibration that will help everybody to be a lot more consciously well. And then, we can do a lot of things. It falls in the right place, I believe. And I think this is happening now. I am not the expert, but I've been watching a different people talking about this evolution, conscious evolution, or genetic evolution, or astrological evolution of our humankind progress. It seems, we are a period of this era. Time is over and we're going down. And I think that's why we have all these conflicts and we had so many calamities. And we are heading a better place, that's for sure. And therefore, even more, we have to help everyone to feel, it is important now. We shift our mindset or shift our consciousness to understand better why we are here or what we are. I really realize London, not England, because I don't know rest of England very well, but at least London, we are so blessed that we had so many mass during the day, every day. And here, even Sunday, 3 minutes away from here, very historical church I have, and I sit there in the beginning when we moved here because there is nowhere to go. I haven't been to mass for nearly 2 years. And then I just wanted to, I went to the church and sat there and sometimes just meditate or sometimes I pray, lit the candles there, but it was not enough and I wanted to learn meditation. So what I said, we are a child of God. We are pure, we are light, we love. Basically, we should be confident, we should confident believing what we are, which is or who are pure love, lights, confidence, almighty. We just focus on, we work hard for our human community and nothing else. So what I understand, you heard something in your head and then that's why you're doing what you're doing now. So sometimes I feel it's so what we see in the world is just somebody else's reality or somebody else's drama. So it's not your drama. So my drama should be, just listen to the creator, universe, God. And what I was told to do in this space and time, that's what I should concentrate. I do more things, which is if I can raise myself with full of love or doing the right thing. So right thing, I keep asking every day, what I have to do today. So it could be helping, my friend close by. Then that's what comes to me, then I do that. So it's not much different, but I certainly change from listening to other people's problem or emotions. But that is, I don't know physically how much we have a problem, but I'm concerned that people are not connected to nature. That is a crisis. So therefore, I believe that if everyone become more conscious, if they recognize all of us a part of nature, we are same as insects or flowers or birds and animals on this planet, then maybe, I'm convinced that we can turn around the crisis to the better place. People are so not connected and let this world to be bad. That's their reality. That's what they're heading. So that can be manifesting. Therefore, I do not want to engage with their emotions. Whether you are religious or not, I don't want to use the word religious. People have somewhere they feel something, and that's, I want to call it truth. If you know what it is, what the truth is, fundamentally, I think we all can go to the same place. Individual learning or practicing to be lovable, be in love, or be love itself as God wants us. My idea of Jesus, for example, Jesus, to me, Jesus or his brother, special messengers from God to help us human beings. And even I think all the religion, I think same thing, saying it's the love. So we practice to be love, what God gave us. And when we can do that, I think world is a golden age. And I think next one, according to astrologers, is golden age.
So COP28 is all about, and the COPs have all been about actions. They've all been about how humans, we must take action. It's not about surrender in a sense. Mm-hmm. And surrender, which I think is closer to what you describe in a way, but it's not a surrender to the problem so that the problem overwhelms us, but it's a surrender to a greater acceptance that we are a part of nature.
Yeah.
And if nature is able to heal itself,
yeah,
then if we allow ourselves to be genuinely part of nature, we will be doing the right thing so that we can heal it too. Is that the right expression, or is that?
Yes, or surrender our old habits.
Yeah. Well, our pride, right?
We are looking back the past and compare past and now. But past, we shouldn't compare. We should always doing better than now, continuously.
Yeah, it's this pride of our success. I think we find that hard to give up. You know, we talk about how oil, gas, and coal have brought about all these benefits. So that statement itself is a statement of pride on our success.
Mm. Yes, exactly. And we should be confident, given by God, that the Almighty power,
that if we relinquished the oil and gas and coal, that we would be equally successful.
Yes.
And that needs us to let go of the sense that, the thing
and
about
and therefore we are abundant.
Yes, and therefore we are abundant in that way. And so that's your optimism. That's the optimism with which you have become.
Mm.